Hi, I'm Janet Khoshaba with Rewind, and this is Back Up to Level Up podcast, hosted live from Las Vegas at ShopTalk 2026. We're here on the floor talking to founders and operators about their stories and how they've had an impact, and we really want to bring those stories to life and share with you how they've backed up to level up. We're at day 3 at ShopTalk here in Vegas, and I'm here with Vinod Kumar from Syntheum AI. Vinod, can you please introduce yourself and Syntheum AI?
Sure. Thank you for having me. Great to be here. My name is Vinod Kumar. I am the CEO and co-founder of Syntheum AI. Syntheum is an agentic merchandising platform. We enable brands and retailers, mostly mid-market and large brands and retailers, really uncomplicate and simplify the product discovery process for their e-commerce storefronts. By product discovery, what we mean is all the different touch points that shoppers use to go down the consideration life cycle of their products as part of their customer journey. We make it effortless for the merchandising teams to deploy their merchandising strategies on their e-commerce storefront. That creates a very delightful shopping experience.
That's great. Can you give me a real life experience or example of how?
Sure, yeah. If you think about browsing and searching as two touch points of product discovery that exists in every shopping website. Both have traditionally been grids. A browsing of a category is a grid, as well as a search result has been a grid. But from a strategy standpoint, what a merchandiser wants to do on a category page would be very different from what they would want to do on a search results page.
For sure.
Search results page are driven by a consumer typing a keyword on the search box, but a category page is under full control of the merchandiser. So that differs. In 2026, especially as this year unfolds, brands are thinking about conversational interfaces. As we shoppers start to use ChatGPT or Amazon Rufus in our own personal experience, shoppers are starting to expect these types of experiences to exist on also brands' own websites. So our customers are thinking, planning, and launching conversational experiences that are inspired by ChatGPT, that are inspired by Amazon Rufus, so that they can offer a similar delightful experience for their customers when those customers land on their own websites.
That's great. That's great. So Vinod, let's back up a little now. What really inspired you to start your business at Syntheum AI? How did you go from an idea, the first idea, to the first product or service, to your first sale?
Yeah, so around 2022, when the COVID hype was sort of trailing away, we found that several brands were sitting on a lot of digital transformation investments that they had made during COVID time, but they were just sitting on the shelves, underutilized. And when I was talking to these large brands, I realized that one of the things that they're struggling with is the complexity of running e-commerce operations using these dozens and dozens of new technologies that were sitting on their technology stack. So simplifying merchandising operations, merchandising workflow is the North Star behind why we started Syntheum. It just so happened that as we were building the solution, was also the time when ChatGPT was entering the zeitgeist. The concepts of Copilot and Autopilot and agentic was starting to take off. It just so happened that by using these technologies and building an AI native merchandising solution, we ended up developing an agentic merchandising solution.
That's awesome.
We never really started to build, it was not intentional for us to build an agentic solution, but when we made sure that our architecture was modern and was using all these latest development, it turned out that what we were building was an agentic merchandising platform.
Awesome. That's so awesome. Talk about timing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. I want to double click on that. What changed that helped you go from trying to actually growing? So was there a specific moment, Vinod, or a decision or a channel that had an impact or made a difference in your journey of Syntheum AI?
Yeah, there were two specific points in time that made a meaningful impact in how our trajectory changed. The first one was, initially when we started, we did not build a product. When we initially started, we basically delivered a service to solve the problem that we were helping our brands and customers to solve. What we realized was, as part of developing that service, we realized, hey, this service can be productized. So that was the first tipping point. The second tipping point was as we were developing our service and we were influencing agentic ways of merchandising in search and category browse use cases, brands, retailers, forward-thinking retailers wanted to see what it would take to infuse a ChatGPT style experience into their brands.
Right.
And when we did that, that just
Took off. Yeah.
we started getting referenced in many of our customers are actually public companies.
Oh, wow.
So we started getting referenced in earnings calls, and that created the
That's
second
exciting.
point. Yeah.
Wow. That's great. Let's shift gears now to the level up moment here. We want to hear something to inspire our audience who are either trying to get into the business
Yeah.
and take something away, that from what you've learned in your journey. So Vinod, if there's one lesson you'd give someone starting today, what would it be?
I've learned personally that relationships drive this industry. Business is made from the trust that people have developed during their career. It doesn't matter if it's early career or late career. If you've been in this industry only a couple of years, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to build Syntheum where it is today purely based on the existing relationships that we had built, that the team had collectively built over the years of working in this industry. So we are not outsiders, we can't be any more insiders to this industry. We're like right in the middle of the industry. But even as an outsider, if you're coming in and starting a company, it is very important to leverage existing relationships because relationships are central to building a business.
Absolutely.
And using that to as a stepping stone to get started was probably the best thing we did to get started.
For sure. There's nothing else better than getting to know someone, right?
Yeah.
On a personal level and then making that connection.
And this is why we do this, right? These conversations are
Absolutely.
always about establishing, creating relationships with people. So that's why we do this.
That's awesome. So before we close, where can people connect with you and your brand, and what's coming next for Syntheum AI?
So the easiest way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I literally live on LinkedIn every day. So just find me on LinkedIn, Vinod Kumar, Syntheum, and you should be able to find me. I answer every DMs. For Syntheum AI, we are at a point of, we are at the beginning of the hockey stick scale as a company. So 2026 is going to be about scaling the company, replicating the success that we've had with our initial customers with the portfolio of future customers that we intend to bring. ShopTalk has been great in generating interest and pipeline and demand for what we do, and we look forward to executing against that interest that we have seen in the market in this event.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Vinod, for coming on our podcast today. It's super inspiring and exciting to learn about you and Syntheum AI, and we're super excited to see what's next.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.